We just uncovered an article of legislation that is in effect right now, which suggests that indoor drone flight in the UK is now regulated. This would make many of the viral drone fly-throughs we all love on social media kind of illegal. What's going on? Let's break it down. During recent discussions surrounding the UAS 2025 amendments, the legislation that waved through much of the changes to UK drone rules in 2026, it was brought to our attention that a new addition, namely Article 2A, seems to have far-reaching significance for drone users in the UK, particularly commercial operators who carry out FPV fly-throughs or who fly at indoor public events. Until now, it's been a fairly well-established fact that indoor drone flight in the UK is not regulated in the same way as outdoor flight. Kind of makes a lot of sense, as the UK airspace regulator, the CAA, is just that, the regulator of the airspace, not indoor locations. Article 2A is an addition to provide an explanation of scope. The article it supports explains that, as you might expect, flights are restricted around airports and the new National Security Act, prohibited sites, etc., etc. So again, all pretty straightforward and what you would expect. But let's take a look at the wording of Article 2A, operations in an enclosed area. This regulation does not apply to operations performed in an area which is wholly or mainly enclosed and where no uninvolved person is present. The key word there being the and. The wording is efficient and clear. It suggests that if you're flying a drone in the UK indoors with uninvolved people present, then your drone flight is now regulated. When this first came up in discussion, we spent a long time working out how we were misunderstanding the article wording, because surely there is no way authorities would seek to regulate indoor drone flight, right? Well, many days of research and contact prodding later, and we're pretty much where we started. The wording does appear quite firmly to confirm that indoor flight is regulated under these circumstances. As you might expect, very early on in this process, we reached out to the CAA and asked a range of questions regarding this new addition to the legislation. Some days later, and we have had confirmation back, so they're answering us as such, but with no response coming back from policy at the CAA at all. So far, there's been no explanation or guidance provided. Now, I don't want to prejudge or predict what the CAA response might look like, if indeed we ever get an actual explanation, but I would perhaps expect this, being in legislation that's in force and was worked on closely by the CAA with the DFT only last year, that the guidance should really be on hand. The fact that this is taking this long does cause me some concern, but we will wait to see if anything comes across in the next few days. We will, of course, keep you all informed of that. When you look at the basic regulation to check if there is anything directly conflicting this article and therefore suggests some kind of error has been made, there is actually more information kind of supporting the worst case scenario here. The Unmanned Aircraft Systems Delegated Regulations 2019-945 actually says this, Article 2 Scope. Note here on the top right, it also provides the legislation that we're talking about as reference. This regulation does not apply to A, UAS designed to be exclusively operated in areas which are wholly or mainly enclosed, B, UAS with a maximum takeoff mass less than 100 grams. The fact the regulation quotes the concerning legislation and itself describes that only drones designed to be exclusively operated indoors starts to bring the ducks into row in the most horrendous way. The questions this development raises are numerous. To regulate indoor flight as if it were airspace would be hugely significant. This would bring in class marking requirements, which of course many of the drones used indoors are often not class marked as they are self-build. It would also prevent flying over people crowded together, even small groups, with the definition of people who cannot move out of the way quickly being key. So this is a real issue if correct. What about remote ID, for instance? How would this impact the growing indoor flight industry and use cases for drone flight indoors? FPV fly-throughs, surveys of larger buildings with tech like the Helios, etc., police use of drones to clear a building for firearms officers, that kind of thing. Where is the data or evidence that this kind of legislation is even required? Are there injuries or incidents that have led to this requirement? What is the reasonable justification for this? On that same line, who on earth would actually enforce this? One significant issue I see surrounds insurance. Most of the use cases where a drone would be flown indoors around uninvolved people would be commercial operations of some kind. This explanation of scope is in legislation and something that insurance companies would surely need to act on. Most policies for commercial drone use mention the requirement to adhere to regulations. Specific guidance on indoor flight often refers to ensuring that all mitigations are taken to reduce risk. Could we see insurers outlawing indoor flight without comprehensive waivers from those inside? Could operators see their insurance claims refused? Back to the CAA, and the lack of reply over several days does concern me. It isn't without precedent, as we are often working with them on a large range of topics, but usually it's a back and forth whilst we're discussing the topic. It would be speculation, but based on a good amount of experience, of course, but still speculation to ponder why there hasn't been a holding position put forward. What are the chances the silence is because they realise this was an error and are working to create a solution? Well, this isn't a simple advice document. It is legislation, and new amendments go through a lot of work through process to become law. So the wording has passed across many desks in government, regulator, and on the legal side. So to me, although I hope we are eventually told that this was an error or it gets quickly amended or something of that nature, I fear that the opposite is true. Why no publicity or action to date? That is a very good question, but this might well be similar to prohibited places under the National Security Act or the coming penalty charge notices system, that things are taking time to develop in the background and will be announced at a future stage. None of which, of course, detracts from the fact that this is in the legislation now. Could this end up being similar to the spotter rule? It is in law that you require a spotter without flying FPV drones in public, but I'm unaware of a single case where someone has been prosecuted for that issue alone. It becomes more of an extra to lump on if someone's been particularly naughty across a few of the rules, but we are talking about an older set of regs there rather than this new amendment to legislation. The CAA cannot surely just decide to ignore legislation and create guidance or enforcement notes. A regulator is not there to pick and choose. It is more the case that they are there to translate legislation into usable and practical regulations which are easily understood by the public. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern. This is something I felt strongly needed to be in the public space and something which drone pilots need to be warned about. This needs handling carefully and clearly, as it impacts many people's incomes here in the UK. This will remain a focus for me until we get some answers, so keep an eye out on the channel for updates. And if you're new here, hit the subscribe button to get notified of when the updates drop. Sean out.